Hello everyone, and welcome to another video on gaming PC builds. Let's kick things off with the heart of this build, the CPU. Right here, I've got the Ryzen 5 2600, a 6-core, 12-thread processor with a base clock of 3.4 GHz, and a turbo boost up to 3.9 GHz. This is AMD's Zen Plus architecture from 2018, and it remains one of the best budget gaming CPUs you can find in 2026. Currently, Intel CPUs like the i5-9400 or i5-10400 are very expensive on the used market, with prices often reaching $70 to $90 or more. In comparison, the Ryzen 5 2600 offers similar or better performance thanks to its 12 threads versus Intel's 6 threads, and it does so at a much more accessible price point. In my opinion, this is currently the #1 choice for budget-friendly configurations. You're getting 6 cores and 12 threads of processing power, excellent multi-threading capability for modern games, and the benefits of AMD's AM4 platform with its upgrade path. I'm selling this CPU for only $48. For the motherboard, I chose the Gigabyte X370M, a mid-range micro ATX motherboard that's honestly quite impressive for a budget build. This board has 4 DDR4 RAM slots, giving you excellent upgrade flexibility. You can start with 16 gigabytes and add more later without replacing your existing sticks. It also includes one M.2 NVMe Gen 3 slot, which is fantastic for fast storage, and a full-length PCIe slot for your graphics card. But the best thing about this motherboard is its connectivity. It has 8 USB ports, providing plenty of options for peripherals and devices, a LAN port for networking, and full audio connectivity. This is genuinely excellent I/O for a budget motherboard. The X370 chipset also supports CPU overclocking if you ever want to push the Ryzen 5 2600 beyond its stock speeds, though it performs great at stock anyway. The motherboard is excellent overall, but it does lack an I/O shield, which is a minor cosmetic issue. I'm selling this motherboard for $28. Next, let's talk about cooling. The Ryzen 5 2600 doesn't get particularly hot. It has a 65-watt TDP, which is very manageable, so there's no need to invest in an expensive aftermarket cooler for this build. Here I've chosen the stock AMD copper core cooler for the buyer, which is sufficient for cooling this processor even under sustained gaming loads. The AMD Wraith coolers that come with Ryzen CPUs are actually quite decent. They have copper cores for good heat transfer, adequate fan speed for cooling, and they're much better than the old Intel stock coolers. This will keep the Ryzen 5 2600 cool without any issues. Next is RAM, and I need to address the current market situation. DDR4 RAM is still expensive in 2026, with prices remaining elevated compared to where they should be for mature technology. However, 16 gigabytes is still an absolute requirement for comfortable gaming. Here I've chosen 2 8GB modules running at 2400 MHz, configured for dual channel operation. Now, I'll be honest, 2400 MHz is on the slower side for Ryzen. AMD's Ryzen architecture benefits noticeably from faster RAM speeds, with the sweet spot being 3000 to 3200 MHz. However, faster RAM costs more, and for a budget build, 2400 MHz still delivers solid performance. I'm selling this RAM kit for $79. Next is the SSD. I'm using a 256GB Western Digital NVMe SSD. This is a proper NVMe drive that connects directly to the M.2 slot on the motherboard, and it's significantly faster than SATA SSDs. We're talking read speeds of 1,500 to 2,000 megabytes per second or more, compared to SATA's 500 to 550 megabytes per second limit. For gaming, this means faster boot times, quicker game loading, and snappier system responsiveness overall. The 256GB capacity is sufficient for basic user needs. You have room for Windows, about 25 to 30 gigabytes, essential programs, and several games. Next, for the case, I chose a Zeekmatech case with 2 front fans included. This is a much better foundation for a gaming build compared to bare-bones cases. Next, for the power supply, I chose a 550-watt Antec power supply. This PSU has an 80+ platinum rating, which is exceptional. The platinum certification means it operates at 90% efficiency or better under typical loads, which translates to less wasted power, lower electricity bills, and less heat generation. This is a premium efficiency rating that you rarely see in budget builds. Beyond efficiency, the Antec brand is known for reliability and quality components. This power supply ensures stable, clean power delivery to all your components, which is crucial for system stability and longevity. The cables are also long enough to reach components even in cases where the power supply is mounted at the bottom, which is the modern standard case design. This eliminates cable routing headaches and makes for a cleaner build. I bought this power supply for $30, which is honestly excellent value for an 80+ platinum unit. Finally, for the GPU, the most important component for gaming performance, I chose a GTX 10 66GB from Galax. This is NVIDIA's Pascal generation from 2016, and it remains a very capable 1080p gaming card. This particular Galax model has 2 cooling fans, which is much better than single fan designs. The dual fan setup provides superior cooling, keeping the GPU temperatures lower and allowing the card to maintain its boost clocks during extended gaming sessions. The card has one 6-pin power connector, which our Antec PSU easily provides. I'm selling this GPU for $98. And just like that, our build is complete. Let me break down the total cost. Let's move on to performance testing. First up is Counter-Strike 2 on Night 60p with competitive settings. This configuration produces 100 to 150 FPS per game, so it's very smooth and stable throughout matches. The frame rate variance between 100 to 150 frames per second reflects scene complexity. Calmer moments hit the higher end, while intense firefights with smokes, molotovs, and multiple players visible settle around 100 frames per second. The 1% lows sit at 70 frames per second, showing excellent stability even during the most demanding scenarios. What's particularly impressive is that components are only operating at around 50% capacity, meaning the Ryzen 5 2600 and GTX 10 66GB have substantial headroom to spare. This headroom ensures consistent frame delivery without stuttering, making this configuration very well suited for competitive CS2 play. Next is Fortnite on 1080p low settings. On average, this configuration produces 150 FPS, so it's still smooth and stable without any lag whatsoever. This is outstanding performance for a Battle Royale title at 1080p. The 1% lows are sitting at 80 FPS, which is exceptional stability. Even during the most intense combat moments with building mechanics, explosions, and multiple players on screen, the performance stays well above 60 frames per second. This is a setup where you can do everything try-hard in this game, building quickly, editing structures rapidly, making aggressive plays, without performance ever being the limiting factor. The Ryzen 5 2600 12 threads handle Fortnite's CPU demands comfortably, and the GTX 10 66GB renders 1080p low settings without breaking a sweat. Next is Marvel Rivals on low settings at 1080p with FSR quality mode enabled. This game is noticeably more demanding than the previous 2 titles, and uses GPU resources heavily to determine performance, so the FPS is only around 60 FPS in basic situations, with smaller engagements. In larger team fights where everyone is using ultimate abilities and the screen is filled with particle effects and visual chaos, it can drop to 40 frames per second, and at that point you can feel some lag in the frame rate. The game becomes less fluid during these intense moments, which is noticeable in a fast-paced hero shooter. This is a 2024 title that pushes the GTX 10 66GB to its limits. If you want to play Marvel Rivals more comfortably later, you can upgrade to a better GPU, the AM4 platform, and this build's components leave room for that upgrade down the line. Next is PUBG on low settings at 1080p. This game is known for its notoriously poor optimization. It's been a running joke in the PC gaming community for years that PUBG is unusually demanding for what it looks like. But with components released in 2018, this machine still handles PUBG very well, delivering 80 to 100 FPS without any lag or stuttering. No components had to operate at 100% capacity throughout the entire test, which is remarkable for a game with PUBG's reputation. The Ryzen 5 2600, 6 cores and 12 threads seem to be exactly what this game needs, and the result is an overall very smooth experience where you can focus on gameplay rather than fighting performance issues. Next is Minecraft with Bliss Shader on fancy settings. The FPS achieved is around 80, which is a very smooth level for this shader-heavy game. At 80 FPS, Minecraft with Bliss Shader looks absolutely stunning. The realistic lighting, dynamic shadows, and beautiful water reflections all run beautifully without performance concerns. You can do everything without fear of lag, whether you're building elaborate structures, exploring new terrain, or flying through your world at speed. The 1% lows sit at 60 frames per second while playing, demonstrating excellent stability even during demanding scenarios. Next is Forza Horizon 5 on low settings at 1080p. This is probably the last time I'll test this game because Forza Horizon 6 will be released in just a few days. But if you feel the game's price or hardware requirements for the new version are too high to play right now, Forza Horizon 5 is still extremely worth playing. The graphics are beautiful, smooth, and detailed even on low settings, and the performance of this configuration is around 50 frames per second, a sufficiently smooth level for a racing game where you can appreciate the stunning Mexican landscape and enjoy the racing gameplay without feeling limited. There was no lag during gameplay at any point, and the 1% lows of 44 frames per second show excellent stability throughout all racing scenarios. Whether you're competing in street races, off-road events, or just cruising around the open world, the experience is consistently smooth. Next is Cyberpunk 2077 on low settings at 1080p with FSR quality mode enabled. Similar to Forza Horizon 5, this configuration is powerful enough to achieve a smooth experience of 60 frames per second in Night City. FSR quality mode provides a meaningful performance boost while maintaining acceptable image quality, and the result is a very comfortable playing experience. The 1% lows of 44 frames per second show solid stability even during complex outdoor scenes with lots of NPCs, neon lighting, and environmental details. At 60 frames per second, Cyberpunk 2077 feels responsive and enjoyable. You can experience the full story, explore Night City at your own pace, and complete the game comfortably. This is excellent performance for one of gaming's most demanding open-world titles. Next is GTA 5 Enhanced on very high settings at 1080p. This game is so exceptionally well optimized that I'll just briefly mention its performance. Around 90 FPS with this configuration. GTA 5 Enhanced looks fantastic on very high settings, and achieving 90 FPS in the enhanced version demonstrates just how capable this build is when paired with a well-optimized game. Whether you're driving through Los Santos, engaging in shootouts, or just exploring the world, the performance is smooth and excellent. Next is Black Myth Wukong on low settings at 1080p with TSR Auto enabled. Wow, even a GTX 10 66GB that's nearly 10 years old can still run a modern graphical showcase like Black Myth Wukong at 85 to 100 frames per second without any difficulty. Everything is very smooth in all situations, even during intense combat sequences with big bosses, where particle effects and complex animations fill the screen. This is genuinely impressive performance from a 2016 graphics card in a 2024 AAA title. The TSR auto upscaling technology helps significantly here, and the result is a smooth, beautiful experience that lets you fully appreciate one of the most visually stunning games released in recent years. Next, Resident Evil Requiem on high texture settings at 1080p, a recently released game, but it wasn't too demanding on this configuration. With a GTX 1060 6GB, it still managed 40 FPS in this game. Since the game's plot and pacing aren't too fast-paced, this is a story-driven survival horror game rather than a competitive shooter, I felt this frame rate was sufficient for a comfortable playthrough. You can explore the environments, engage in combat encounters, and experience the narrative without feeling severely limited by performance. The only notable issue was the VRAM situation. The GTX 1060 6GB of VRAM was fully utilized in this game, leaving no headroom. This means that in more open areas or with future updates, you could potentially encounter VRAM-related stuttering. It's worth keeping in mind if this is a game you plan to play extensively. Next is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on low settings at 1080p. As you can see, the ideal frame rate for gameplay lands around 50 FPS. This medieval RPG is demanding for its level of visual detail and world complexity, but 50 frames per second provides a comfortable enough experience for exploring the world, engaging in the game's realistic combat system, and progressing through the story. Smoothness and stability are well maintained at 42 frames per second on 1% lows, showing that even during the most demanding moments, the performance stays well above 30 frames per second. Overall, the performance is more than enough to beat this game and experience everything Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has to offer. Next is Red Dead Redemption 2 on high settings at 1080p. This game lacks technologies to boost FPS like FSR or DLS, so the FPS is a bit low at around 30 FPS. This is pure performance from the hardware without any upscaling assistance, and it reflects just how demanding Rockstar's masterpiece is. However, for me, in non-shooter games like this, where the gameplay is slower paced and methodical, riding through the heartlands, hunting wildlife, engaging in deliberate gunfights, and experiencing Arthur Morgan's story, 30 frames per second is still enough to complete missions and finish the game. The deliberate cinematic pacing of Red Dead Redemption 2 works well at this frame rate, and the high texture settings make the game look stunning even if it's not running at 60 frames per second. And finally, Battlefield 6 on low settings at 1080p. In Battlefield's signature chaotic combat environment, with explosions, smoke, destruction, multiple vehicles, and dozens of players all on screen simultaneously, the FPS remains stable above 60 FPS at all times. This results in an extremely smooth gameplay experience that lets you participate in the large-scale battles Battlefield is famous for without performance issues disrupting the action. The stability is excellent at 55 frames per second on 1% lows, which is a sufficient level for comfortable gameplay. The fact that this configuration maintains above 60 FPS consistently throughout Battlefield 6 demanding multiplayer scenarios is a great testament to the Ryzen 5 2600 and GTX 1066GB combination. The complete testing across 13 games paints a clear picture of this configuration's capabilities. Competitive titles like CS2 and Fortnite deliver 100 to 150 FPS with excellent stability and component headroom. Mid-range demands like PUBG, Minecraft with shaders, and GTA 5 Enhanced produce 80 to 90 FPS. Demanding modern titles like Cyberpunk 2077, Forza Horizon 5, and Black Myth Wukong achieve 50 to 100 frames per second with appropriate settings and FSR assistance. The GTX 1066GB VRAM proves adequate for most titles, though RE Village maxes it out as a warning sign for very recent releases. At $300, this Ryzen 5 2600 build delivers impressive gaming capability that punches well above its price class.